Lady She Podcast. I'm your host, Lady She. We are still getting down to the wire with this. She is my SHERO series number 2. I am too excited. I have some amazing women who have come to test the hot mic, y'all. And so on today, I have my special guest presenting to some and introducing to others, Miss Linae Braxton of Baltimore, Maryland. She is the COO of Uprisun Energy. Welcome, Linae.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I'm excited. All right, so let me just tell y'all this though. This is not her first time on a hike mic. She came to visit and show Baltimore was in the building, okay? Talk about cheating. But it's all about her on today. So once again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. All right, I hit the mic already. All right, so COO of Uprisun Energy. First, tell us what a COO is. What is that?
Chief Operations Officer. So I manage the day-to-day. I'm basically the right hand to my CEO, and I literally just manage the whole company. And we actually have 3.
You actually have 3?
We have 3.
Wow.
We technically 2 entities, but we operate them all separately as 3 different companies.
Wow.
We have Uprisun Energy. That's the training and fulfillment platform of it all. We're a renewable energy-based company. Then we have Uprisun Technology, where we have proprietary software that we've built out, and we license it out to different solar companies across the country who utilize our resources. And we have Uprisun Capital, and I'm actually managing partner of Uprisun Capital. That's our financial brokerage. It's one of its kind. There's no other brokerage right now doing what we have set up to do with big push in renewable energy. Of course, we work in both residential and commercial. So for commercial, we broker out large scale commercial solar projects for financing. Nice. And we just closed the $42 million project in the Bronx.
Nice. Congratulations. And in the BX, okay, let's go with the renewable energy. I love to see it. All right. So I don't want you to just tell us about energy. I definitely want you to tap into that, but I kind of want to let the people know who you are also because what you doing in New York from Baltimore. Shout out to Baltimore too, man. I've met only dope people from Baltimore. I can't hold you. Always was funny and great energy. Always kept it 100 and say that. So shout out to Baltimore. So how did you end up this girl from Baltimore in New York? How?
That's a long story.
You can make it short.
I originally moved to New York. I was in school. I was dealing with some family issues. I actually originally went to school for electrical engineering and physics.
Did you? Nice. Yeah. Oh, so you a smarty pants, huh? You gotta be a smarty pants. Engineering and physics and what? Yeah.
Physics.
Yes.
And I got to my 4th year. We dealt with a big death in the family.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, that was the person who was supporting me through school. So I had to do a shift.
Right.
So I always loved New York. I always wanted to live in New York. I had that dream, and I was like, you want to know what? Let's go to New York and see what I can get into.
And so now, what age are you that you encourage in the family? Let's just go do it after this person.
I just did it. No, everybody thought I was crazy.
Wow.
This was 10 years ago, 2013.
That wasn't that long ago.
That was 22.
Oh, snap. Wow. Okay. So what was it like growing up in Baltimore?
I didn't have a hard life, but I grew up in an environment that wasn't attractive for me to want to stay. My mom, she had me at 14, but what I can say, I love my mother to death.
Yes, mom.
For her having me so young, I didn't miss out on anything.
Love that.
I went to college, had the same experiences and stories as everybody else.
Love that. So mom raising you at 14, meaning like, you and mom basically grew up. Do you feel that because your mom had you so young that she made it her business to make sure that you didn't make the same decision that she made?
Oh, yeah. Like all my mom used to preach is, I'm raising you to be self-sufficient. That's all she would say. Like, you need to be self-sufficient. She had her foot on my neck. She was really strict. Not even as strict for my little sister, but my mother was very strict.
What's the age gap between you and the sister?
8 years.
Okay. So she was let me say this in reference to parenting, because you're not a mom yet, right?
No.
Okay. So with that, we don't like to say it, but the truth is when you have numerous children, you're one parent at this particular stage in life and you're another parent at a different stage. So at 14, she was probably like, my daughter's going to be this, because she probably had so many people trying to judge her.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? So there was probably so much judgment around her that she's like, but watch how my daughter turn out. Watch God. You know what I'm saying? So then when she had your sister, she was probably already solidified in life.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what I think happened.
Yeah, I was making straight A's. Yeah. I was getting awards all over the place. So she was happy. I was bad at home and good at school.
Love that. Love that. That's awesome. All right. So coming from Baltimore, feeling like, okay, I've always loved New York, and dealing with this devastation of this death, right? So how did you transition? Because a lot of times, especially being raised by a mom who's strict and they teach you to be self-sufficient, you already have in your mind what you want. But sometimes being that way, we don't deal with reality of you having a death.
Yeah,
so kind of talk to us about that.
You know, when that happened, I can say I leaned a lot on my experiences growing up. You know, I was taught to be self-sufficient, and my mom used to work a lot. So even when my sister was growing up, we were 8 years apart. She called me her other mother.
Right.
So I knew how to take care of the home. I was cooking at 8, 9. So it was a culture shock coming here. I did come to New York like for a boy.
Right.
That was the easiest.
She said a boy. She even say for a man. She's like, I came for a boy.
Oh, it was a boy. But I mean, that was the easiest conduit, and it helped me establish, you know, my feet here, figure out what I wanted to do with my career, and just what I want to do with my life.
Right. Got you. So now, being in a relationship, coming to another state that you can look like from a distance, but you know, living here is totally different when you have a significant other that's a boy. So what are some of the emotional things you went through? And then, like I said, still probably trying to deal with grieving.
So that boy, the person who passed, was actually my high school sweetheart.
Wow.
We were like brother and sister. It was kind of creepy. We were together since 7th grade.
Right.
You know, he made good money. His family had money, so he was supporting me through school. And this guy that I was with now here in New York, he was really insecure about my past and the things that I was used to. I was used to money. He didn't really have money. So I had to deal with that, understand someone else's depression while I'm dealing with my own. And I never dealt with it.
Right.
During that whole 5 years I was with that boy, like I never dealt with my depression. He was the type of person that, you know, the world was ending all the time.
Oh, wow.
So he taught me how to be depressed.
That's what I'm weird. Like, what?
He taught me how to be depressed.
Where'd you meet him?
Weird.
She laughed. Because I'm like, where you get him from? He must have been fine.
I met him at a 7-Eleven when I was going to the club in DC.
7-Eleven hookups. Beware, people. No. So at 7-Eleven, like I said, he must have been fine.
He was.
Because I'm saying looks sometimes keep you connected to a person.
I give him that.
You like, he was a little wacky, but dang, he was cute. Okay. So he was attractive, met him at 7-Eleven, and then now you don't even realize you're taking on his depression. So he had issues.
Big issues. And now on the outside looking
back,
they weren't even that deep. It was just he was a troubled person.
Right.
And I had to learn that after removing myself. And, you know, I went through, even during those stages, it took me, I would say, 2-3 years to grieve when Jose passed. And it was bad.
Right.
Like, it was bad.
Like, it hit. It hit. Right. So now, what were you saying to mom? Because when you're coming from a home where the women are telling you, you know, you can do this, you know, you have to be better, you have to progress, you have to be positive, you have to make these goals, hit these goals or whatever, and then now you're in a depressive situation. Can you be real with them, or you just like,
I lied to her the
that's
whole
what I'm saying.
time.
Like, I'm feeling like
She's
you was
still,
like,
still getting truth, still
wow.
to this day. We've been broken up for years.
Oh my gosh,
she's still getting truth.
So was she like in shock? Like my daughter stayed in that?
Dealing with that.
Right. Ooh. So when was the time where you felt like you really checked out?
I would say there was a time when I was dealing with that the guy I was living with or wherever here in New York, and it was really weird.
It was like suddenly.
It hit me like a bus, but we were also dealing with some problems.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened, but we got into an argument one day. It was really weird, and just I had a whole
The
switch
switch hit.
flip, and I jetted. I actually left the house. I was missing for a couple days. It was bad. I was just roaming, thinking, walking and
New
thinking.
York, which means you was blending in.
Yeah,
because it's a lot of that. And she's talking about New York City. It's a lot of that.
No, he lived in Ronkonkoma.
Oh, this is Long Island. Nah, we do got some different people in Long Island. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's definitely everywhere.
Ronkonkoma, it was deep.
Wow.
So, and my biggest part of my depression was the culture shock.
Right.
Coming from Baltimore to Ronkonkoma.
Oh, yeah.
Holbrook area.
Yeah, so,
that was it was a lot. You know, I didn't see too many people like me,
right.
even at the supermarket.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Like, you definitely stood out.
Yeah.
Because you were Black. Wow.
I was getting treated differently, you know, and when I was growing up, my mother used to put me in like all white summer camps and stuff. I was used to being, but not like this Long Island.
No, Long Island is different, especially with racism.
It was bad.
It is, yeah. Wow.
So I was in a new environment. I was around somebody I didn't even like, but I had to be around him because he was supporting me. And then I couldn't even go out and meet friends because the area I was in. So it just wasn't good.
So for 4 days, where were you?
I literally walked a lot. I walked and sat and walked and sat. No honestly,
rest.
I tried to think about no.
Wow. So
when you're in certain states like that.
Yeah. The mind is something. The mind is amazing. The mind is amazing. Like it just is. So 4 days, and then you finally like, oh yeah, I'm back. And what happened?
The police found me. He wound up calling the cops.
Oh, he cared enough to do that.
Did.
Okay.
And they wound up finding me. I think I was sitting on a bus stop. It was weird. Obviously, I stuck out like a sore thumb in that area.
Right.
And they were like, "Are you in there?" I was like,
she's like, "Who's asking?"
Yeah.
What?
It was a really interesting story.
Police station. Now, clearly he found you. They brought you back to him, or you were like, "I can't be with this person." Was that the end of it?
No, they so at that time I was really lost.
Right.
So they had found some items on me where I was gonna take my life. That's why I left.
Wow.
So, and that's when I had a hard lesson that you become a stated award. Award of the state?
Yes.
If you try to take your life.
Yes. Yep.
I did not know that.
Yes. Saying the words and making strides to do so is not okay. So you become stated award. Yep. Ward of the state.
Excuse me. Ward of the state, and they sent me to Brookhaven,
a psychiatric place. Okay. And what did you learn being there?
I learned that I wasn't that crazy.
Right. That you were hurt.
And that I was hurt, and that it was coming from a really hurt place of depression, but it wasn't who I was. It was what I was dealing with. So I realized why I was there. Instead of taking on, you know, the titles that they were giving me, you know,
what were they trying to say?
Manic depressive or manic anxiety, certain things like that. And I even had to knock myself into reality. I'm like, well, I don't belong here. This ain't me. And, you know, I just really need to itemize and look at what I'm dealing with so I can really progress and heal.
Absolutely.
In life.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, because, you know, what you just said was very significant. You saying you understood once you kind of came to, like, this is not me. Like, some people do belong there, but I'm not one of them. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I know I went through something. I had a bad patch, but I'm going to be okay after this. So, you need to let me go. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's important. And I was reading something on Instagram where it's this guy. He was like, your highest level of self awareness is self talk. As
Boom.
like elementary as that sound, like that's
No, that's
important. I
very
talk to
important.
myself all day.
Mm-hmm.
I reason with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, okay, this is good to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you can answer yourself. Yes, you can. I don't care what they say. Okay, 'cause I'm gonna answer myself. I'm like, is this gonna work? No, it's not. Child, you can't do that today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
You just have to do it. You just have to do it. So thank you so much for sharing that. So going from being this young lady who's in an environment where you're being encouraged, to be self-sufficient, to transitioning to coming from your hometown where you know everything there, but you know nothing about coming here and with a person who's going through their own stuff. You end up going through this situation that made you come to realizing you're very human, because grieving is human. Okay, grieving and learning to come to realization that you no longer have a loved one, especially someone who is so vital to your growth, to knowing what love is. You know, you need to understand it's okay to grieve. It is okay to pull back and really take in what the trauma that has happened to you. So I just want to say it to someone, and I'm saying it to myself. This is March
You
month.
should also put everybody grieves differently.
Absolutely.
So don't ever let somebody tell you you're grieving wrong.
That part right there. Thank you, Linae, for saying that, because that is so real. And let me say this. Sometimes people, we're going to move on, people don't mean any harm. They just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
So in their mind, they feel like if I tell them this, then they'll be fine. And no, people have to grieve in their own fashion, and give them that space to do so. Sometimes it's okay to not say anything. Let the person go through it the way they're going to go. Now, not hurting themselves, but, let them go through the motions how they need to go through it, and let them understand that it is okay. So thank you so much for sharing that. So now, she's in NY. Did you finish school here?
I actually wound up there finish school. That was another big one of my depressions.
Oh, that was part of it.
It's huge. Huge.
So do you think you mentally just was like, I can't even do it because he's not here? Like, was it like subconscious?
It was that I really didn't have the support. My mom was in her early 30s when I was going off to college. I couldn't get her to co-sign student loans. Scholarships didn't cover everything. Electrical engineering is probably one of the most expensive degrees you can get.
I can imagine.
Next to being a doctor and a lawyer, you got to pay lab. And I got to the point in school where it's mostly lab fees.
Right.
It's a lot of money. So at that point, and I built up a lot. I built myself up in high school. Got straight A's all the time. Got really great scores. Everything I took. I was in the physics Olympics team. Like, wow. I did robotics. So going from, it was a big culture shock. Yeah. I literally had to go from that to figuring out what I'm going to do with my life.
Right.
I did not know what I was going to do.
So that was almost like a mental abortion. Like, yeah, you literally lost out on the things you knew you were going to do. So that's trauma.
People that I got to watch people that I tutored surpass me and graduate. Wow. I mean, I interned at NASA. I've done so many things just to get to a point where it's
you
like,
could not get what
am I going to do? And even with the 4 years I put in school, you can't do anything with engineering unless you have a degree.
Right.
So I literally had to start fresh, tabula rasa, literally.
Wow. Okay. Yes. All right. So understanding and coming to the realization that you have to start from scratch, like that is either going to be null and void, where nothing's going to happen with that, or you have to find something new. What was next for you once you left that? Because you left that situation. Yeah. After the cycle situation.
No, we were together for a couple more years.
You were? So, but what was that like? Was it something where he realized I got to do better myself?
He tried to get better.
Okay.
He would bring me food when I was there, come visit. He was supportive. We were trauma bonding. Right. That's literally what me and this guy were doing. And we did it for 5 years. That's not good.
Yeah. No, but I know what you're laughing, but it's very real. So when people were like, but why didn't they ever leave? Why didn't she leave? That's sometimes why.
Mm-hmm.
The connection is the trauma.
You become codependent.
Codependent. That's the word. That is the word. Wow. So you finally got out of that, right? Because you dealt with some trauma within that after you came home, yes?
Yeah, we did. Of course we did.
Right.
But we stayed together a couple more years after that, too long.
She said too long. She threw that in there.
My life didn't start until we broke up.
That was for someone, okay? It is okay to start over. Life does not have to be consumed by a significant other. It may seem like it, but I promise you, if you stop and not think about what you're losing and think about what you're going to gain, you can do this. Like, you can absolutely do it. People start over every day and be okay.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people who books you read and stuff like that, their story starts with, yeah, because I was going through this and I was in trauma and I was in this, but then when I got out, and then it just flows. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for being transparent. So now in New York, you don't realize this ain't it. Did you take a break from relationships and just focus on education, or how did you do it?
When we broke up, that's probably the most pivotal moment in my life, because now I had something to prove to just myself. Yes. So, and it was crazy because he was still taking care of everything. I really didn't work those 5 years. So he was like, you are never going to make it in New York without me. One of those. So I was really prideful. And I didn't tell my family. I literally left his house with one bag, left all my stuff there. And I was homeless for like a month.
Homeless as in went to shelters or walking around again?
Walking around, just catching places during the day where I could just, it was.
That was survival. Like, you were like,
I was like, I'm not gonna let him say I'm not. I know. Out here in New York,
like, that ain't gonna happen, Joker. I'm gonna prove you wrong, but I'm gonna have to sleep right here for a minute. What?
But it worked out. I wound up, even though I was homeless for a month, that first week, I called one of my people in my networks. I wound up getting a job managing an office.
When you say in networks, what is that?
A colleague of mine that that knows me very well for my work that I do. Told him that I needed a job. Mm-hmm. He was like, all right, I'm about to call a guy right now. I'm not going to mention his name.
Okay.
But he wound up calling the guy or what have you, told him he's giving me a job. The guy gave me a job. Had really great business. It was credit repair, business finance, and what else did we do? And I was a paralegal, so I used to help a lot with foreclosures, judgment abatements, things like that. And ironically, the office that he turned an apartment into an
That's
office.
God, man.
So I had the keys. Mm-hmm. So I would go, like, I just wait till he leaves, and then I go there and take a shower because it's still at the bathroom. I used to keep my bags in the closet in my office that was there. And then it just worked out. And I would work all day.
Oh my gosh. Whew. So now, how long did that last until you found something?
Well, I was only homeless for a month. So after that, after I got my checks in from the first weeks working there, I wound up renting a room from Jose's, my sweetheart who passed. His aunt had a house in Yonkers.
Oh, she lived in New York. Okay.
So I wound up renting a room at her house, wound up calling his family, and that was the first time I spoke to them after he passed. So they were super excited. It was probably 4 years after he passed. She was like, where you been? Come on. Oh. So I wound up going there, and I was able to really plant my feet and do what I needed to do. And I stayed with her for 5 months, and I got my first apartment.
Oh my gosh! In my heart right now, all I feel like Jose watched you go through all that stuff, and he somehow got it to where you connected to his family. Like, that's how I felt just now.
It was weird how we connected.
Gosh.
His cousin hit me up on Facebook.
Woo, girl, don't make me emotional because I felt all of that. Like, he's like, I've known her all this time I'm going and she's trying to figure out her way. She's a good person. Like I got to do something. That's what I feel.
I felt that
Wow.
too. It was him.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Linae. Oh my goodness. So now living in her place, they're excited, to be some assistance. So now kind of fast forward. When did you get into this avenue of how did you get involved? Oh gosh.
And renewable. So I have a really unique career journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I started out in electrical engineering and physics. So I love math. I love physics. I love innovation.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my passion my whole life.
Your whole life, yeah.
And then when I came to New York and I had to survive, a really great thing about what I was doing with the guy who wound up giving me a job, I was his executive assistant. So I really learned business.
Nice.
I learned a lot about business. He had a doctorate. So he was a master at credit repair. Like he was going to be in a Guinness World Book of Records.
Yeah.
He achieved a 990 credit score. So he was going to be in the book for that.
Now that
so
is
I was
different.
able to learn a lot of his secrets and things. And I learned a lot about business development working under him. And then at one point he was really lazy, so I was doing his job. I was literally operating his business. From there, we wound up parting ways. He was very unethical.
Okay.
Very unethical. So we disagreed a lot about how he was running the business. Once I really learned about the business,
that part.
And then from there, I got into sales. Commercial financing, since I was doing so much on the business sector, and I loved it.
Wow.
My first commission on a finance deal that I did, it was $13,000. So I was like,
and how do we do this? No, I'm kidding. Wow. That's dope. And now, how old are you at this time?
25.
Nice. That's a good check for a 25-year-old.
26, yeah.
And in New York, you need it. Okay, let me start.
Oh no, I was closing deals back to back.
Yeah, you had to.
30 piece here,
nice.
8 piece, 15. So I was like, this is nice.
Okay. She's like, I can be okay with this. Wow. Okay, so in sales, so then how long were you doing that?
I was doing sales 5-7 years, because even before I met the guy, I was doing sales.
Okay.
On the side, just wasn't consistent with it.
Gotcha.
Because I had a guy I was with who was very insecure.
Right.
Didn't want me to make no money.
Oh, help us, God. Help us. Men, we're out there serious, people. Please look into it, because our men got to do something different, because this don't make no sense. What? Okay. All right. So dabbled into sales. You loved it, but wasn't consistent. Now you making good money. You put 7 years into that. So what made you leave that?
I didn't really leave it. And that's why I'm the managing partner of Uprisun Capital. I didn't really leave it. And even during that time when I left him, my colleague who got me the job with him, I built his financial brokerage.
Wow.
So I built his whole firm. He moved to LA with the firm. I just didn't want to move to LA. I was like, that's too far.
Really?
I don't trust that.
She's like, you're too far from my mama. I'm not doing that. It's like Maryland right there. I can't do LA.
I need a property or something before I go.
I hear that. Test the waters.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I got you. Do you visit there at all?
No, and he's he's still till this day. He's like, when are you coming? Oh, like I'm gonna come, but I'm so busy with work right now. And I got into renewable energy right after COVID.
This is new.
It's very new.
What? My mind was like thinking something else.
For like since 2 years, going on 2 years now.
Okay, now we got to get down to the nitty gritty. Okay, so you reject going to LA for the obvious. I get that part too. That is.
And then COVID happened, so thank God I didn't go. Yeah, to LA.
That's true. That's true. And LA was acting different with COVID. It was weird.
That the reason why I had to look into something different, I was selling money to businesses. So during COVID, businesses were going out of business,
Right.
or
Right.
they were getting free money from the government.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of that, even a little trickle of businesses, once life was trying to get back to normal, banks were scared to lend money.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
all my deals were dying and funded, and I wasn't getting a stimulus because I was an entrepreneur
Right.
for so many years. So I was like, I need to look
Okay.
into
I
something
gotta do something different.
essential.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I get that part. So explain to us, what is renewable energy?
Renewable energy is a clean source of getting our power. So when we look at the traditional means of how we make our electricity right now through power plants,
Mm-hmm.
they use oil.
Right.
So it's all done with, like we say, old fossil fuels, the
Right.
old way
Mm-hmm.
of doing business. Because nationwide, not even just here in New York State, we have clean energy goals that we have to meet.
Okay.
Years ago, even when I was just getting into college, when I was in high school, I'm 32 years old, you had people who were talking about climate change and
Right. Right.
global
Right. Global
warming.
warming. Mm-hmm.
People were getting laughed at
Mm-hmm.
in the early 2000s
Yeah.
about it, but we are living in it
Yes.
today.
Absolutely.
So we have goals now. Like, if you notice, we live in New York, and the first time it snowed this winter was what,
I
this
know.
past
Just
week?
about, yeah, like last week or so.
That's
Yeah. It is
scary.
very scary.
This is new. We're in the Northeast.
I'm scared. Just saying it. I am.
So we got goals.
Right.
It's nationwide. And if you look at it, if people read the newspaper or watch the news, the government just passed a huge bill last July, the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
That is big. If you read it, it's all about, it's nothing, it's renewable energy heavy.
Right. Aha, that was good. It's renewable energy heavy. All right. So now in this industry, is it like predominantly men? Like,
Yes, it is.
why? But why?
Predominantly men. Honestly, we could go forever about the why, because I could even tell you when I was in school,
Mm-hmm.
engineering, anything that's STEM,
Right.
science, technology, engineering, and math, it's male dominated. And I used to tutor a lot of young girls to teach them that STEM is actually cool.
Yeah.
And I think women are a lot better at it
Mm-hmm.
because we're
Wow.
more detail oriented.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when I was in school, I was the only girl in all my classes.
Really? I'm glad, and I will say this: Long Island, I see a lot of that. So I will say for here, I don't know about in other places, but STEM is a big thing here.
I love STEM.
Yes, it's a big thing here. I know. Shout out to Hofstra University. I know they always have programs connected to that because I want to get my little one in that.
You should.
So
It's
yeah,
important.
yeah, it's important.
Look at the new way of life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. Well, actually, explain them because we're talking because we actually know what we're saying. Explain to them what STEM is. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, like I said, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. It's basically anything that actually promotes innovation.
Right. Right. Right.
At the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, and I would say we do have a new shift with this new generation,
Mm-hmm.
even including my generation, where you have more females getting into these fields, and I love it. I love to see it.
Nice.
But back then, you had the men, they were working and the women were home. So right now, where we are in our society, women are becoming more independent.
Absolutely.
And really putting their feet out there and saying, this is something I want to do.
Right.
Whether it's a stigma, and you got men who are becoming nurses.
This is very true. I love that. Thank you for sharing that because everybody's doing what makes them happy,
Yeah.
and that's amazing. We're living in a good time right now. Thank you for saying that. So now, when it comes to commercial and residential, what are some of the benefits?
There's crazy benefits. So nationwide, they have the federal government is pushing this. So that IRA bill that was just passed,
Mm-hmm.
anybody that goes solar, whether it's residential or commercial, 30% of the whole cost if you own the system and not lease it, you're going to be able to credit from your federal taxes.
Oh,
30%.
nice.
And actually, this same time last year, my clients, I was telling them it was 26% and that it was going to be gone in 2024. But
Wow.
when they passed that IRA bill last July, they raised it to 30%. And now for the next 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
anytime somebody sign up for solar, 30% of that cost you're going to credit on your federal taxes.
Wow. Sirs. You better write that down. I'm telling you, because that's big.
Credit.
That is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
On the commercial side, it's even more massive. They get that plus 85% of the cost. They get to actually write off as a tax depreciation on the equipment.
So me being an entrepreneur and I have my homes and I have commercial properties, I'm getting both.
I love meeting clients like that.
Listen,
I just sat
y'all better
down
stop
with
playing.
a homeowner this past Friday. He's getting solar on his home, his primary residence. And actually, one of our guys, they were door knocking.
Right.
And the guy was like, you know, if you can't do my commercial property, I don't want to talk to you.
And you were like, that's light. We got you, sir. What?
Exactly. We love
fire.
And actually, commercial is not a big thing in the United States for commercial solar. It's really difficult for, even if you have some people who's looking to sell commercial solar or learn about it. There's not much information online about it, and there's not many companies that are doing it.
But you guys are.
We are.
Boom.
We have a niche.
Hello. Did you catch that, T? Come on. She's like, yeah, a lot of them don't do it, but we actually do. So now, being the CEO of a company that you're seeing, now how old is the company?
Our company is technically 1 year old.
Okay.
But it's the partnerships that we have.
Okay, explain that.
Like I said, Uprisun Energy, we're the training and fulfillment platform for it. So obviously, we're not the construction company.
Right.
The people who install the solar. We have a partnership with MS Solar, really very reputable company. They've been in the game for about 10 years now, doing both residential and commercial.
Okay.
And they're actually building a whole solar farm for a power plant in Texas.
So, I wanted to have a solar farm.
You should.
Yeah, I was looking for land.
You could.
I'm just saying that to you people who are listening because
that's big money.
Yeah,
for
it absolutely
commercial
is.
Solar. If you are a homeowner in New York State, you can't get a check for going solar. But if you have a commercial property or some land, and you could feed the grid and help the utility company,
right.
There's money.
There's money there. This is why you got to research and platforms like this. I don't want to educate you because I go back and forth in the South a lot, and I was seeing it. I'm like, well, how can I get involved? Like, I need to.
Listen,
we're gonna have to talk.
I talk even right now. I'm planning something with my mom, and I'm gonna get 2 other people involved.
Okay.
Just like you have, generational wealth. I think friends should be able to get together and strategically plan on making healthy investments.
Absolutely.
Whether it's multifamily properties and solar farms are on that list now too. It's something that's very lucrative.
Right. Wow. Come on. I was up in the right direction. Come on in here with the confirmation. I'm telling you because my husband's like, huh? I'm like, yeah, we keep seeing it. We're traveling. He's like, okay. I'm like, okay.
I want to put a
that means
little
I gotta
here.
Go ahead.
In the state of New York, we do not have any power plants.
Okay.
So our electricity is so expensive because we have to pay to have it delivered to our homes.
Wow.
Even like in Orange or Rockland upstate, a little past Westchester, on their electric bill, it tells them where their power come from, and their power come from Texas.
Wow. Dang. Oh. Ew.
We have no power plants.
Oh my gosh.
So if you're looking to find some land and build a farm, this is a great state to do it.
Okay. Let's go. Hello out there, world. You better catch this. That's all I'm saying is catch it. Don't be mad at me when I'm somewhere else and you already know it's up. When it's up, it's stuck. Like I'm telling you, because I'm telling you, we're going to talk. But yes, thank you so much for sharing that. So now we're finding out that it is a lucrative situation. So you're trying to teach other women about this.
Yes.
How are you going about that?
So we have a Women of Power organization we set up with the company because we know, like, even not even just STEM, like we were talking about, solar is a very male dominated field. And that's completely understandable. So we're opening up this Women of Power organization for women entrepreneurs who are looking to monetize, their relationships and learn solar as well as make money.
I love that. I love that. So what I love is this. And when you say we, you mean the actual company, or you mean
It's a
you per
company,
se and other women?
we recently, and what I love, because when we started out, it was me and my business partners, and I was the only woman. So it was like four of us, and we were grinding for like a year. So we actually have two other women on our executive team. I love to see it.
Me too. I love to hear it.
Yeah, our
It's
chief
dope.
technology officer, she's a woman,
Okay.
and our chief administrative officer is a woman as well.
Awesome. Let's go, ladies. Listen, we have to listen. What I know and what I've come to find out, and what excites me about the women in this atmosphere right now is when we don't have the doors, we busting and making our own.
Yeah.
Or we're making you understand we're here too. You know what I'm saying? And that's the energy you have to have. If you're excited about something or something you want to get involved in, you see is not too many of women, figure it out.
That's
Come
what
together and do it.
When I went to school, people were like, "Why are you want to do that?" I sit in a class and be the only female, but I loved it.
I know that's right.
I didn't have to buy books.
She's like, and I'm cute, so right. Ah, I love that. I love that. Listen, you can't accept no. Like you have to learn from other women that, and this is saying, I think I have it on one of my shirts that I made. I won't be remembered by staying quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the energy you should wake up with. Like, listen, this is something that actually interests me. It's not that popular with women, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
My grandmother always said, "You get not because you ask not."
Say
and
that
I
part,
think
Granny.
that goes into what you said, and I had to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be very low spoken. A lot of people used to say, "Huh? What'd you say? Speak up." And it wasn't until just going through life, and just understanding that if I want something, I need to go out and take it.
Yes, yeah. You better give them that energy that you had when you was like, I'm a little homeless right now, but I ain't going back there. Okay, I'm going.
That part.
I'm gonna go take this bag and dust myself off and try this thing. Good for you. That is awesome. I feel so inspired. Oh, I hit the mic again. Sorry, y'all. I feel so inspired. That's awesome. So now, with you creating this entity now for the women, where do you see the company going with that?
Well, one, I will say, outside of that, I see the company really taking really big strides and large leaps in the renewable energy space, period. We're really creating a atmosphere right now where for our economy, and I think I had sent you that Warren Buffett.
Yes, I like that.
Like Warren Buffett said, renewable energy is going to be the largest transfer of wealth for our economy. And I mentioned the IRA for a reason. That's our Inflation Reduction Act.
Say that part.
They have renewable energy tied into that whole bill. So also renewable energy is creating a lot of our newly self-made millionaires.
Right.
This is big.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, you got white collar and you have blue collar. Right now, the space that renewable energy is creating, these jobs that it's opening up, this is the new way, the green collar.
The green collar, honey.
So what we're doing with this organization for the Women of Power, we wanted to open this up to show women that yes, women do get into this field and can be extremely successful. This is not just for the men. I don't even like that saying. Right. And we also know that I know a lot of women that do come to our company. They said that they have huge interest in solar, and they apply to other companies and they go there and there's so many men. So they even when they get training in sales and different pitches and things. They can't really emulate
Right. They
what they're
can't really
being
relate to
taught.
that. Yeah. The energy.
So
Yeah.
this is why we're creating this space. So it's like you can come in from other and learn from other women entrepreneurs who know this space very well, and you can just learn with no bias.
Right. Love that. Love that. So now, learning with no bias in reference to men and women. But what about like you being a woman of color? What's that like?
So I was also the only woman and the only me
Right.
in the company at one point. But what I am saying, we have grown very diverse,
All
and
right.
I love it. But I will say, I don't know. I think for other people it might be hard, but I've been doing this. My mom, with her being so young, she was
Mm-hmm.
ignorant at her time, but I think she knew what she was doing. One time she sent me away to stay away camp.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only black person
Right.
at a stay away camp for
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks. I was like,
She's
okay.
like, I'm the one, aren't I?
And and now when she talks about that time, she even told me, she was like, I cried in the car when I left you. She was like, I wanted to come pick you
Right,
up.
right, right.
But she was like, when I came back, she was like, you was on posters everywhere. And she was like, you loved it. So I was like, I mean, she prepared me for it. When I
Right.
went to school, I was the only woman of color in my, classes. I just learned how to be me. I just learned
Love that.
how to just be me and not look at, the differences in color. And I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't deal with people seeing my color. But the business partners that I have now, they are a gem.
I love
I
that.
can say even with these guys, starting out, it was just four of us. And even as a woman and as a woman of color, a lot of the partnerships that we've made, we deal with different type of people.
Right.
And like I told you, we just closed a $32 million, deal. So you can
Love that.
imagine the type of clients
Absolutely.
that we work
Absolutely.
with. But my partners, they pump me up
Mm-hmm.
all day, every day. Like, Linae, she's awesome. She's
Yeah.
great. She's a genius. You need to talk to her.
Love
So
that.
it's, before I even speak with anybody, they already know who I am.
I love this. Go ahead, Linae. Listen, that's a bar. I love that you shared that they pump you up because I feel
Oh,
like
they do.
that absolutely makes a difference in a person's worth ethic. You want to love what you do, not just the money. The money, for me, I always say it may sound dramatic to some, but I always say the money will come. But when you love what you do, it's different.
For a year, we built this company and didn't make $1 because we was just building. We weren't
Hello,
selling
hello. Say
anything.
that part.
So
You
I
gotta
put
put
a
the work
lot of
in.
sweat equity. We did get paid.
Right, right, right. So wait, now, okay, now not getting paid. How was you surviving?
I was surviving.
Okay.
But I took those times when I was surviving,
Right,
and
right.
I was like, you want to know what? I see something great. I
Mm.
know where this is going. And I felt like when I fell into renewable energy, it was really crazy how I got
It was
into it.
God, honey. God
But
love you,
when
honey.
I
He
seen
loves
it,
you.
my background in engineering, I already knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know how to get into it. And now that, finances weren't, because I was making really great money.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So I was like, when that was low, I'm like, okay, this is a sign. I get to tie in my engineering background now along with my business development and finance. And I'm like, what?
This is my world. This is my world. I love that. I love that. See, and I'm glad that she's saying this because a lot of times in life we try to understand like, when am I gonna get to my place?
Oh my
Like,
God,
when
I
am I
used
gonna
to
get
ask
there? When am I
myself
gonna
that
get there?
all
When am
the
I gonna
time.
get there? But you start to realize once you get there, everything you went through was just for you to get to that place. So, girl, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I
it was
love this for you.
crazy.
I love this for you. Listen, so now you're in the groove. You said I'm still stuck on it only being a year, like the company being a
We've
year
been
old.
building it for 2, and we established the company Uprisun last year, January. But before that, we had another name.
Another name, right,
but it just made sense. This name came to us one day.
I
We
love
were
that
like,
name.
this is it.
That is a dope name. Who came up with that? Y'all, that was like collaborated.
My partner and CEO Tyler Mashcow. He's awesome. He's my number one cheerleader.
Oh, I bet he is. Shout out to him.
He came up with the name. He called me. He was like, "What do you think about the name Uprisun? You think it's dumb?" I was
Nah, that's fire. As soon as I said, "Oh, I love that name." That was dope.
And our logos are awesome. We have 3 different logos
for each company.
Yeah.
Each individual company.
This one is Up Cap, so you see that,
right?
And this is Up Tech. I got Uprisun Energy on.
Look at y'all showing out with the logos. That is so cool. That is so dope. Okay, so now, thank you so much for sharing. This is Women's History Month, so of course we want to be empowering the women. The women. So now, you're gonna be doing Are you gonna be doing courses, or are you just gonna be having like these seminars connected to
seminars?
Okay.
We do have programs outside of the Women of Power where it's just our standard general programs for affiliates. Our Network Pro program, and we have a green real estate agent program. So I'm pretty sure a majority of the women that we initially invite onto the platform are gonna come from a real estate background.
Gotcha.
So we do have a green real estate advisor program where we teach them all about solar. We teach them also how to identify homes that they might get as a listing, so they can also know how to negotiate that property as well. And we also compensate them very well, right, to monetize their book of business to all the clients that they already put, a lot of work in to build that relation. There, we have the same book of business. We need homeowners, and they sell homes, right, and they have this relation. And a lot of their homeowners that they sold homes to, I'm sure, are walking around Costco or Home Depot talking to a Sunrun rep, right, who will not be able to educate them properly. I'm sorry, let's take that back. You might get a rep who might not educate you properly on the process of doing solar. Gotcha. They might give you the numbers and what it will look like for you, but to really sit down and break it down for you and educate you on what you're really looking into. Gotcha. So we don't have sales reps at our company. We have energy advisors. Got that. Okay. Hello. There's a difference. She made that. Thank you for making that clear. Thank you for making that clear, because some people may be thrown off, just feel annoyed that someone's talking about something that they don't really know much about. But being an advisor, it does have a different, kick to it. So thank you so much for saying that. So now, if I was a person who, I came across this episode, I'm young. I know that I want to have property. I know I have some goals, but this interests me. What's one of the things you would say to me, or who would you send me to learn more about, renewable energy, to learn more about what I would want to do if I had a property and stuff like that? Oh, one, you can take a look at our website. We have a lot of information there on the incentives that are available to homeowners and how to plug in to get a quote, as well as just also from our website, you can reach us on our contact us page and just set up for somebody like myself. Like, I'm dressed like this because I just came from a home educating a homeowner, and they went solar. Whoop, whoop. Killing Huntington it. Station. Oh, nice. But and I'll sit down, or somebody from our company, they'll sit down with you and they'll really educate you. Right. Why there's a push for solar, what's the problem, the solution, and how to break it down to see what's feasible for the home. Right. Love that. Love that. Okay, so I'm sorry, while you were talking, I just lost my thought. No worries. I'm so sorry. Sorry, guys. I'm excited about this because this is how we learn. This is how we educate ourselves. This is how we actually save money also. This and the earth, we have so many issues. Major. The humans are doing it to the earth. So it would behoove us to educate ourselves on different things that can go the opposite direction of damaging, because we only have this planet, y'all. Even a lot of people, myself too, I'm in this, and it's not 100% about the money. Of course, that's great. I live in New York, those I need to pay bills. Right. But there's a huge, I feel like I have a service to provide with pushing renewable energy to help our environment, because I was one of those people in the early 2000s who believed in
Right,
global
right, right,
warming.
right, right.
Also, what's happening outside of the environmental aspect, look at what's happening to our economy.
Yes.
You have people who are struggling to fill up their gas tanks so
Mhm.
they can go back and forth to work.
Absolutely.
You have people who are struggling to, buy groceries.
Yeah.
And now with the fluctuating rates with the utility companies,
Mhm.
they're going up crazy.
Nah, it's
It's
bad.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So now you have people who are struggling to pay their electric, and that's disheartening. And
Yes.
then to see who they're paying their electric to. Like when I sit down with homeowners, I let them know right now you're just a renter
Yep.
of electricity.
Yep.
You're just renting your power.
Mhm.
So just when you're thinking of, solar and the switch to going solar and what's the difference, it's very similar to when someone switches from renting a property and now acquiring a mortgage.
Go
It
ahead.
is the same thing.
That
Right
was
now,
good.
you're renting your electricity from your utility company. So all of the savings come into ownership.
Right.
So now with the solar, you own your power,
Mhm.
and that money that you're paying every month, just like you would for your electric bill,
Mhm.
is going towards something that you own,
Right.
and is not going in the trash, because anytime somebody think about rent, it's a liability. I
Right.
used to be a financial advisor. It's nothing
Mhm.
but a liability.
Mhm.
So now you get to invest into the solar. And once you're finished paying that off, you own your system outright.
Right.
So not only did you put the power plant on your roof, but now you have a monthly payment for it every month. And once it's done, and you own your
It's
electricity.
yours. It's yours. Whose world is this? I had to say
Yeah.
that. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, now I like music. Listen, ma'am, you're dope.
Oh, thank you.
Like, you're awesome. You're amazing. And nobody told you that. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Like, real talk. This blessed me. Like, for sure. I knew you were, when you came for the other situation, I was like, I like her. But now I'm like, I love Linae.
Oh,
Luna,
thank
come
you.
on. This is amazing. I'm so now, the women's empowerment thing just got me. So if I already kind of asked the same question, but now I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me
Go
right
for
now.
it.
So, homeowner, right? Multiple properties.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys give, like, I don't want to sound cheap or ghetto,
No, I'm
but do you
listening.
guys do like package situations?
That's not cheap. I mean, you
Okay.
gotta see what's
Yeah.
feasible
Yeah.
and what financially makes sense.
Mhm.
Now, when you're thinking about how solar works, it's construction and you're
Mhm.
getting equipment.
Mhm.
So it's not really something we could package.
Right. Right. Right.
And it's a case by case basis. Each property is different. Like I do deal with clients who own multiple properties, and you have some people, they want to just get solar, so now they can actually receive money from their tenants for both, the rent and both for the utility.
Gotcha.
But it all depends
Okay.
on the
Okay. It
property.
does.
What I would say for commercial, if you have those properties, let's say under an entity, it might be a little easier as far as
Explain that.
fitting the bill, because a lot of these solar programs is for the average homeowner.
Okay.
Most people don't own multiple properties and have a
Mhm.
portfolio.
Mhm.
So a lot of the solar programs for residential is mainly for like a primary residence.
Gotcha.
I will say we do have a bank that we deal with that can deal with um, properties that are under an entity like a trust or
Okay.
a LLC.
Mhm.
We can work with that, but it literally all depends on the property.
Okay. 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 Let's go. Let's get involved. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. So, what's next? Period.
For me,
Yeah. Yeah, such an amazing story. You need to write a book. I'm about to help her with that.
My mom keeps
You
saying
need to
that.
write a book.
My
Somebody
life
needs
is
to understand.
crazy.
No, your life is when I'm talking to you, I'm like, God love her. Like, I hope she really know God
My mom
loves
says that a
you.
lot. My mom, you know what she do?
He
Say
loves
God
you.
looks out for babies
Babies
and
and
fools.
fools. Then that's every black mama's line. God looks out for children and fools. And you like, well, which one am I?
And she be
What
like,
you trying to
you're
say?
not a baby.
Okay. So, I mean, yes, I think you need to pray about it or something, child, because somebody need to. I just feel like somebody gonna be so blessed when they hear this story. Like, you've been through some things, you've lost some things, and restored and beyond.
Well, just to piggyback on that, I will say I'm very transparent today. I'm very transparent about a lot that I've been through in life because I notice a lot of the things that I've been through. For some reason, even before I would go through things, a lot of people come to me. They tell me their business. I'm like, I don't know why
You have a
people tell me
trusting
their business.
energy. It was a safe space for them.
But I learned that everybody has a story.
Right.
Everybody has a story. And going through my own traumas, in my mind, I felt like I was the only person dealing with what I was dealing with, and who goes through that.
Right.
I'm like, and then you feel ashamed to talk about it because it's crazy to you. But I noticed when I started talking to some people where it's like they telling me their problems, I'm like, I wish I had those problems.
Right. Like,
So
yours is light, honey.
But not to, lessen somebody's situation, but I'm super transparent about a lot that I've been through because I feel like, it could help. Because I also noticed when I was going through what I went through, I felt like I was alone because I never talked to somebody that I felt like who's been through that.
Right.
So I feel like I have a service to talk about what I've been through because a lot of people, believe it or not, been through a lot of the same things I've been through.
Yes.
And they might be struggling or dying inside and don't have somebody they feel like they can relate to.
Love that. Thank you so much for that. No, that's the truth. And nobody wants to go through stuff alone. So it definitely helps when someone is relatable, to share, and you don't feel like it's a judgmental place. So,
that's super important.
Thank you so much for that. Miss Linae Braxton of Be More in the building. Tell them the website again and where they can reach you. What if they want to just reach you? Like, what if they wanted to just tell you, thank you so much for sharing your story. I too went through A, B, and C. I just got out of a toxic domestic violence situation after 20 years and no one really knew. I hid it and and I want you to know I'm so encouraged. Where would they go?
Well, I'm always available on my Instagram at Luna, the letter B, Wise. So at LUNABWISE. That's where you can reach me personally.
Okay.
If you like to learn a little bit about our company and see what we have going on, you can reach us on our website. It's www.uprisun, UPRISUN.com. It's like uprise in the sun. So www.uprisun.com.
Love it all. Thank you again, Linae Braxton of Be More, for coming on the hot mic. I truly enjoy you. And this is why she is my SHERO. Okay. Guys, make sure you contact her if you felt the tugging on your spirit connected to anything that she shared about her personal story and her journey into renewable energy. Make sure you contact her, Luna Be Wise, on Instagram, or you can go to their website. If you have any questions, it definitely is a lot of information.
It's a lot.
I checked it out. No, I like to read and I like to learn.
We have 3 companies. Yeah. So Uprisun gives all the information for both Uprisun Energy, Uprisun Technology, and Uprisun Capital.
Right.
You can't see
hello. Yes, no, it's great information. So if you really feel like, okay, we may have glossed over something or whatever, definitely check out the website and check out the information for yourself. It's very, very informative. I enjoyed you so much.
Likewise,
thank you so much for coming. Guys, make sure you subscribe to How Mike Relates You podcast on YouTube. Make sure you tune into I I haven't actually shared the She Is My SHERO series yet, but when I do, oh my goodness, you guys are getting a snippet. You're getting a sneak peek, baby. So, stay tuned for Hot Mic with Lady She. Also, excuse me, if you're looking for any apparel, anything like that, you can actually contact me as well on my She's Got Tees Instagram page as well. I know a few people asked me about a specific shirt that I was wearing. I got you. I did not forget. And that's it. Listen, it's still Women's History Month. Say I love you, say thank you, or something to some woman that did something good for you in your life, because listen, in this atmosphere, we need to hear it. So shout out to all the amazing women who have been great examples to us, to your mom, your family, the women in your family, for making you such an amazing, for making you such an amazing individual, and to all those who have paved the way for us. We thank you, we love you. Everybody have an amazing day. Bye.